Chapter 1: Kindling the Spark. In a small village of ancient Persia, a humble potter named Yashar chased clay across the desert with no sign of wealth or fame. One evening, a traveler and itinerant sage took a seat beside the glowing embers of Yashar's kiln and asked, "What fuels your fire, Yashar?" Yashar smiled and replied, "The clay itself, the hope it holds, and the purpose I give it." The traveler nodded and whispered, "The fire inside is not the flame you see, but the will that keeps it burning when the wind tries to extinguish it." Modern entrepreneurs can learn that the inner fire is not a blaze of external success, but the steady resolve that lets you keep crafting your vision even when sales falter or competitors surge. The potter's clay is a metaphor for your ideas, fragile, fluid, and waiting for a clear direction. When you map out a purpose, you transform the clay into pottery. When you map out a purpose, you transform the clay into pottery. You never let the fire die. Apply today. List 3 core values that define you. When a challenge arises, pause and repeat them aloud. Let them serve as your inner ignition, ensuring that every task aligns with a higher purpose. Conclusion: the story of Yashar reminds us that greatness is forged in the crucible of intention and persistence, not in the flicker of fleeting recognition. Call to action. If you found this insight useful, please like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into ancient wisdom. Reflective question: what core value can you ignite today to keep your personal or business fire burning against adversity? Chapter 2: The Fusion of Heart and Mind. In the heart of the Himalayas, a young monk named Arjuna was confused when the river of life seemed to swirl against him. He turned to his mentor, Krishna, who offered him a simple allegory. Imagine a furnace that transforms base metals into gold. The furnace's inner fire is the divine spark of consciousness, while the metals are your thoughts and emotions. The alchemist's skill is not in forging gold itself, but in sustaining that inner blaze until the metals have purified. This parable parallels the Bhagavad Gita's call to action: steadfast, purposeful effort guided by virtue, not by momentary feelings. The alchemical process is the daily discipline of mindful intent, turning ordinary effort into profound influence. Apply today. Identify an everyday task that feels tedious. Instead of viewing it as labor, envision it as a furnace warming your inner fire. Acknowledge the task as a vessel for growth and treat each action as a small act of transformation. Conclusion: the fusion of heart and mind becomes a sacred laboratory where routine becomes revelation, offering a conduit to elevated living. Call to action: if you resonated with this perspective, hit like, share, and subscribe to keep exploring timeless truths. Reflective question: which routine task can you treat like a furnace, harnessing it to fuel your personal evolution? Chapter 3: The Ka and the Courage of Resilience. The ancient Egyptians revered the Ka, the vital spark that animated the body and soul. When a pharaoh's Ka was believed to survive beyond death, the Egyptians built grand mortuary temples to preserve that life force. A famous Egyptian king, Thutmose III, once led his troops across the Sinai desert, trusting his Ka to guide them through the harsh dunes. Even when sandstorms blinded the paths, the soldiers followed the hidden, invisible flame within themselves. Thutmose's story exemplifies the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, the inner fire of will, and disregarding external uncertainties. The Ka's persistence through the unforgiving desert serves as a metaphor for inner resilience when confronting today's turbulent markets. Apply today. Craft a personal mission statement, your modern Ka. When market winds shift, revisit it. Align daily actions with this core essence. The mission statement grounds you and lets you focus on deeds you can command. Conclusion: the timeless image of the Ka confirms that a purposeful, internally anchored fire endures, even when the external world is chaotic. Call to action: enjoy this ancient insight. Like, share, and subscribe for more timeless leadership stories. Reflective question: how will you anchor your present decisions to the personal Ka that defines your purpose? Philosophy Spotlight: Stoicism. Stoicism, a philosophy that emerged in Hellenistic Greece, teaches that the quality of our life rests on how we respond to what happens, rather than on what happens itself. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations that the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. The Stoics' creed can be summarized in 3 powerful lessons for modern success, motivation, and personal growth. 1. Focus on the controllables. Every day, identify the decisions and actions within your power. When external events create turbulence, direct your energy toward what you can influence: your effort, attitude, and choices. 2. Cultivate an inner sanctum of calm. In the midst of distraction, practice deliberate breathing or brief reflection to re-anchor your thoughts. This mental retreat mirrors the Stoic idea that true tranquility comes from within, not from external circumstances. 3. Turn challenges into virtue. Adopt the Stoic habit of viewing adversity as a catalyst for growth. When obstacles arise, ask how they can strengthen your resilience, ingenuity, or moral character. These lessons directly weave into the script's theme of the inner fire. Just as alchemy transmutes base metals into gold, Stoicism teaches us to transmute distress into clarity. The fire you stoke inside, when fed by disciplined focus, mind calm, and purposeful challenge reframing, becomes a forge of unstoppable personal evolution. Chapter 4: Transforming Flint into Fire. In ancient Roman taverns, a master blacksmith named Decimus carried a piece of flint that could ignite any spark. When a traveler visited, Decimus challenged him. "If I strike you with this flint, do you believe you'll keep the fire alive?" The traveler bowed, and Decimus struck the flint, creating a burst of light that danced in the cold air. He then said, "You hold the fire, I only give you the spark." Decimus' demonstration echoes the Stoic mindset that we have an inherent capacity for fire. It's merely a question of intention. The alchemical process here is the deliberate striking of that spark with the purpose of sustaining the flame, not just igniting it. Apply today. Choose one high-impact project that feels daunting. Begin with a short, energetic rehearsal. Write a mission statement or sketch a timeline, just enough to get the fire burning. Let every subsequent action feed the initial spark, converting doubt into momentum. Conclusion: the story reminds us that the spark may be present at all times. What we owe ourselves is the will to strike it and keep it alight. Call to action: if this narrative sparks your interest, please like, share, and subscribe for deeper dives into ancient mastery. Reflective question: what initiative lies dormant within you, awaiting the decisive strike of intention? Chapter 5: The Final Temple of Inner Fire. In the ruins of an Athenian agora, archaeologists uncovered a bronze altar inscribed with a phrase that ancient philosophers still quote: "Know thyself, and the universe will unfold." The altar was left untouched for centuries, yet when a curious scholar traced its lines, it illuminated a secret chamber, an underground courtyard glowing with a faint, steady light. The light was not from candles or torches, but from the very stone itself, shining with a quiet, relentless brilliance. Scholars concluded that the altar's builders embedded an eternal flame, an inner symbol of self-awareness that could guide travelers even after the temple's walls had crumbled. Today, the eternal flame symbolizes the lifelong pursuit of self-knowledge and purpose. It reminds us that when the outer world changes, markets shift, algorithms evolve, society transforms, our inner fire remains firm, providing steadiness and vision. Apply today. Schedule a weekly self-reflection session, dedicate 15 minutes to journal or meditate with a single question: what inner value guides me today? Let the answer become a lantern that directs all your external actions. Conclusion: this underground courtyard of light is a testament that the greatest treasure people seek is not wealth or status, but a steadfast inner beacon that endures through all storms. Call to action: if you are inspired to set your inner fire ablaze, like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more ancient wisdom. Reflective question: what quiet, steady light do you currently carry inside, and how can you let it illuminate your path? Final reflection: your inner fire, whether forged in Stoic discipline, alchemical transformation, or the timeless symbol of the Ka, can become an unstoppable ally. By choosing what to control, cultivating calm, and viewing adversity as virtue, you turn every moment into a forge. Let this ancient torch guide your modern journeys, allowing purpose, resilience, and growth to flourish. Stay tuned for more episodes that blend storied pasts with actionable insights. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exploring together.